January 12th, 2013. Episode 3, Personal Finance, Obligations, and Your Freedom. Welcome. Hopefully welcome back. If you're fed up with liberals, corruption, dirty politicians, bankers, Ponzi schemes, and Big Brother invading your privacy, you're always welcome here. I always like to start my videos off with any corrections or retractions from the previous video. We have none to report this time. Moving on, you can find us at mad-yet.blogspot.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and on iTunes. All of the links are easily found on our homepage. Now let's move along and find out what I have to say in my new article. As my previous article focused on many things, this time I wanted to focus on something other than gun control. But before I end this article, I will spotlight a few points, just because I think it is so vitally important to shine a light on cockroaches in government that are acting in a treasonous manner. Namely, the Iowa State Representative Dan Mulbauer, who wants to confiscate your guns. If you read my last article or heard my last video, and you did as I asked, you pulled out your personal finances and you took a good hard look at them. I would imagine that many of you were unhappy with what you saw. You don't like looking at your personal finances because it's always bad news. You work your ass off, putting in hour after hour, day after day of backbreaking work, doing everything right, and yet you're never quite able to get ahead. Your savings, if you have any, is meager at best. You're not going to like what I have to say next, but I urge you to hear my blistering words. Listen to me very closely. It's your own fault. Yes, you made the decisions to do what you did with your finances. You took out the car loans, school loans. Many of you even got computers or other electronics on credit. You got credit cards from your bank, your favorite stores. Hell, even calling cards on credit. The whole while you went into debt, deeper and deeper. You dug a hole so deep that you can't even see daylight anymore. And you don't care, because you know someday you'll just have to claim bankruptcy. Ask yourself, why is bankruptcy an option? Simple. Because your parents did it, your friends did it, and now you think it is okay to do the same thing. It's been indoctrinated upon you and all of America that it's okay to just ignore your obligations. Let me tell you, it is not, and the rest of the world is watching. They watch and they have less and less faith that we can pay them back the guaranteed bond rates we so quickly promise every time we need a loan to pay off the previous year's federal deficit. Year after year, we keep borrowing, and year after year, our economy suffers from it because they are digging the same hole you dug yourself into. There is one huge difference. The government has a printing press, and you do not. They inflate prices and devalue your currency further and further every single day. They simply raise your taxes whenever they want to, because they know the domesticated livestock they call citizens will simply do as they are told. The rest of the world is wise to our tricks. These countries are about to pull the rug out from underneath our economy. Hell, China and Russia even have a pact to buy and sell gold for oil now. They don't want the US dollar to be the reserve currency anymore. They know our money is worthless, and the idea is spreading. But we can't invade them like Libya or Iraq, because they would nuke us off the face of the planet if we tried. 5 things you can do right now. 1. Start living beneath your means. Get rid of the non-essentials. 2. Never take out another loan except for a mortgage the rest of your life. 3. Cut up every credit card you have in your possession right now. Go ahead and pause me. I will wait for you to return. 4. Always put something into savings every pay period. And now, the most important rule. Number 5. Stop blaming businesses for not having jobs. Instead, start thinking of how you can work for yourself and create jobs for others. Be proactive, not a victim of this fascist regime. Now, I know, you're probably thinking about these 5 rules, and you're saying to yourself, wow, this guy's off his rocker. I understand. I was there just years ago. I encourage you to keep moving forward and continue absorbing what I have to say next. Something you should know. Here's a personal tidbit of knowledge. It took me 14 months to become financially free. One day I just had enough. I threw every bit of my financial data, bills, checking statements, and receipts on the floor. I grabbed some food and then locked myself in a room for hours, solving the labyrinth that is personal finance. When I came out of that room, I began seeing the world in a completely different way. I was spending $420 or more a year on batteries. If you have children, you'll understand. I was spending $7 a day on coffee, hundreds a month on cell phone service. I was taking multiple trips to the store when 1 or 2 a week, or even 1 a month, would have saved me nearly a tank of gas a month. I was using the highest priced cable, internet, and phone companies. I was using more expensive water companies, trash collection services, etc., etc. I was making nearly $60,000 a year, and I didn't have a dime in savings, all because my parents never taught me any different, because their parents never taught them any different. Think about it for a minute. The government wants to tell your kids how bad guns are, how to stop bullying, and even how to have safe sex. But God forbid you start shedding any light on personal finance and fiscal sanity. No, that would ruin their agenda and show you the hypocrisy in government. You must pay your bills, but they don't have to pay theirs. They can just raise the debt limit. The entire time they keep borrowing their way into a hole they can't get out of, knowing they can just increase your taxes. Sounds like you're being represented well, huh? Now, ask yourself why people, even like myself, make these mistakes. I will tell you why. It's called advertising, monopolies, and fascism. In these scenarios, companies use psychology on unsuspecting citizens. They buy out other companies to reduce risk, or they simply remove competition by lobbying to get special deals from your local, state, and federal governments that only benefit them. Ever remember seeing those red light cameras? Ask yourself, did you benefit from that Orwellian crap? No, you did not. Sounds like a sweet deal for them, right? In many cases around America, these types of fascist activities are considered illegal, and people have had them removed because the slow creep of opportunity and greed is blatant to many. To these fascist pigs, you are merely a source of revenue for the government and companies, who are in bed together to sponge money off the backs of its citizens' labor and honest mistakes. Why does this matter? If you're still listening, you're probably thinking to yourself, this has nothing to do with my previous articles. You're dead wrong. The government is a beast, and that beast needs to be fed. Companies and organizations use influential lobbyists to get what they want passed into law to reduce their financial and political risks. As you can see, lobbyists don't benefit society or you personally. These snakes force small businesses to shut their doors. They cause decreased wages from medium and larger-sized businesses with regulations, like forcing pizza stores to buy polo shirts for all employees. Thanks, Governor Andrew Cuomo. Oh, by the way, this is the same son of a bitch that is threatening gun confiscation right now. Coincidence? No, this is not a coincidence. This is planned, contrived, and sinister. Pay close attention to the people that these snakes surround themselves with. They are the enemy, and they must be on your radar. How can you change things? So you've heard what I've had to say, and you're now starting to put the pieces together in your head. You now realize some of the tinfoil hat people out there have been right all along. They saw it coming, and they warned you. The George Orwells, Bill Coopers, and recently Craig B. Hewlett have navigated the murky halls of conspiracy and proudly donned that tinfoil hat and handed you the reasons why things are the way they are and why they will continue to get worse. Realize this. Mr. Cooper was shot dead, by the way. Many people think to silence him. These men saw things for what they truly were. They screamed so loud that the general public thought they were crazy. Modern-day Chicken Littles. That you ignored, marginalized, and even considered a nuisance. Now your society, your culture, and your country are nearly beyond repair. Or is it? You are your own person. You have the ability to take responsibility. They don't want you to know that.
The companies, the liberals, and the usurpers that slither in the halls of your government right now want nothing more than for you to go back to sleep. They hope that you never find out that liberalism is dumbing down America on purpose. They are indoctrinating your children to do as they are told and not to think on their own, training them not to ask questions of any kind. No, that would be bad for communists that want your freedoms eradicated in the course of cementing this doctrine right here on your own soil. Obligations are how they get to you. Terms of service, sign here, click here, agree to this, agree to that. Start reading, start understanding what the word contract means. Why does this matter? Simple. You live in a corporation. Your city is incorporated, your businesses are incorporated, and you yourself are a business according to a growing consensus of legal activists. They claim your Social Security number is merely a way to track your business, you, and your earnings or potential. It's an employee identification number. This rabbit hole goes deep, way deep, deeper than I care to get into right here, but it's worth digging into if you want to make the time to do so. So do I have your attention yet? Quick review. Businesses lobby governments to get what they want and reduce competition. Companies and governments create laws and codes that you are bound to follow because you contracted with them. Herein, obligation. Laws, codes, and rules that become piles of paperwork miles high. Hell, your U.S. tax code, also known as the Internal Revenue Code, is approaching or exceeding 74,000 pages currently. There's a name for this insanity. It's called legalism, plain and simple. They want to, and have in many cases, made everything illegal. Here's a little quote that I said in my previous videos. Everything that Hitler did was legal. Martin Luther King. You need to think real hard on that quote. You must begin to put things into two categories, needs and wants. Dave Ramsey is the modern-day mouthpiece for fiscal sanity in my personal opinion. I found him after I was already debt-free, but I wish someone would have forced his teachings upon me much earlier. He is a breath of fresh air for anyone that thinks that they have no choices or options left. He preaches fiscal sanity and makes you understand that it's not your money. You merely manage it for a higher power, whether that be Christ, which he believes in, Allah, Buddha, or whatever you wish to believe in. Until you push away all debt, until you see the liberal advance upon us, you have no way to fight back. You are being taxed and charged slowly. Laws are orchestrated to achieve maximum profits for corporations and governments slowly, so there isn't a revolt. The same thing is being done right now with gun control. They want to push restrictions, registrations, and taxes on you. They want to impose codes and laws everywhere to remove your ability to revolt in any significant way. They want you defenseless against the hammer that is called government. This hammer drives its will upon you. It drives up taxes and derives its power from the sweat of your brow, and it gains significant power from the sheep that do what they are told. No, trained to do, without asking questions. Government is not always a bad thing, but your founding fathers had the foresight to let you know that you had the right to abolish it if it became destructive, harmful, or otherwise unproductive. I and many would agree our government has become all of these things. It harms you by socializing everything and removing your incentive to be productive. It harms you when it taxes your labor to the point where you no longer see the fruits of your labor, and it is obviously the most unproductive since the 1940s, according to the reports on the 112th Congress. Review the 5 rules that I stated above. Cancel your account with any company that doesn't give you the best rates. Take away their power to influence you financially, and you can make clear, concise, and informed decisions. Your freedom comes at the price of you taking the time to make informed decisions. If you are unwilling to take a few minutes to investigate whether or not you got the best rate on your cable, your cell phone, or even a car loan, what makes you think you have a chance against a tyrannical government? Be proactive. Stop playing their games. Ask yourself, are you mad yet? That concludes my article. And again, I thank the SGT report for spotlighting my story. Like always, I'm going to leave you with a little quote. If tyranny and oppression come to this land, it will be in the guise of fighting a foreign enemy. James Madison.